So the final thing we want to talk about here, resolve. This is the hardest one. How do we do this time after time after time without people going, oh my God, the good idea fairy visited the boss again. If I tuck my chin down and wait long enough, this too shall pass. You're laughing because you've been there. And I know that those of you who aren't laughing have been there, but you just don't want to admit it. This is common. And when we look at resolve, we're talking about communication, we're talking about culture, and we're talking about workforce development. Oh, does that sound like something that's of interest to us? Strategic workforce development. We can have the right people in the right jobs with the right disposition, not just the right technical skills. So let's start by looking at that of shared understanding. We need a common mental model of why we're going someplace and what that place looks like when we get there. That's the shared intent, shared and disseminated, vertically, horizontally through the organization. That's a leader's job, and HR helps him do it, or helps her do it. Once we have that shared mental model, the next step is for us to look at building a change-based culture. That change-based culture is not just the transformation change that Christina talked about. There are key elements of it that we're changing every day. We create more fatigue for doing this anticipatory tuning and adaptation as we do the big changes. The big changes typically have a burning platform that say this is a survival event. We've got to do this or we're going to go away. We need to build a culture that gets us through all that. How do we do that? The first and best thing is have leaders that have these characteristics. They bounce back after adversity. That's resilience. They're adaptable. They think strategically. They're capable of setting a vision. They're creative and innovative. They are externally aware, and they don't quit. Those aren't necessarily skills. Those are dispositional qualities. We can develop those in our leaders, but we've got to make certain we got the right leaders in the key jobs that can build that culture for us. And then the final aspect of this is we need to have an integrated workforce strategy, and it is not sufficient to recruit and retain. That's the start. We need to make certain that in that workforce strategy, we recognize it's almost as important to hire A-level players for A-level positions deep into the organization as it is to go to the executive recruiting firms and get a new C-suite person. We need to pay that level of attention. You can't do that for all of your talent, but if you've identified a key role that's vital to the agility of your organization, you cannot turn that over to a contingency recruiter. You've got to spend the time and effort of getting the right person in there, not with the right skill set, that's a given, but with the right disposition, the right character. The other things you have to do in your workforce strategy, make sure that you're not following the falsehood of hoping for A while rewarding B. Your compensation, your long-term, your short-term incentive plans, the criteria for not just recruitment, but for promotion, for reward, have all got to be tied to the things that you're trying to achieve. And that's got to be built into your workforce strategy.